But I mean, that thing, I mean, and obviously, you know,
But if Joe Canetta says hit it with the steel brush, I'm assuming that's okay.
But I mean, it's the ravages of time have, you know, taken. I mean, it's not the same fort, you know, when it was first erected. Obviously, you know, like erosion and whatnot and everything like that. But, whew.
Let's get Mayor Jesse Alig, the president of the Mayor's Council of Guam, on this morning. It's a Mayor's Monday. Good morning, Mayor.
Good morning. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Ho, ho, ho. So,
was it a Merry Christmas for you?
It was pretty merry. I don't know how merry it was for the mayor of Humatec, but just, I guess, real quick, what do you think of that?
Yeah, you know, deplorable, I think. We always look for ways to keep our parks safe and clean, and for vandals to do that type of, you know, thing, especially on Christmas. I mean, that's just, you know, it's nonsense. I mean, there's so many other things to do in life than to be doing stuff like that. So, yeah, it's unfortunate, and I'm glad that the administration took action. I wish, though, that action like that was taken for everything else that was just as important as the historical site of Fort Soledad.
Right, and then also I want to take it back to they're just not funding the presence at the parks to go around and to be checking that. We hear it all the time.
And that was, you know, I spoke to former Governor Gutierrez since he's been at GVB, and one of the things that I'm so grateful for is the relationship that we have with him to actually kind of expand what GVB does for Guam and for Tumon. And what's good for Tumon, I think, is good for every other village. And we're talking about the I think they're called VSFs or VSOs.
Visitor Safety Officers, VSOs.
Officers, right. So, of course, I'm sure other people have thought about it, but of course, I'm mentioning it as the council president, saying, hey, if those officers are good for Tumon, can we bring those officers to the parks in the villages? Because our tourists go to those parks. I have 2 parks in PD that the tourists visit, and we don't have any officers there. It's really just our maintenance staff that take care of it. So I just feel like if there's a larger presence of those officers around the island and in our parks, there's certainly it'll you know, hopefully curb those types of activity. And I don't know if you know, Senator Moylan has a bill out. I know you may have seen it, or you may have heard about it, about those video cameras that he's proposing to have installed in public areas. And so,
but why does he have to have a bill? It's a no-brainer. We should have cameras at all the parks. We should have had cameras at all the parks ever since. I mean, every time we do a story about illegal dumping, whether it's 1,000 Steps or vandalism at Fort Soledad, it's the same problem. And the lieutenant governor
after that, we were talking,
know better.
We had the conversation last week, and he had forwarded, after that our conversation, he forwarded me the bill that he introduced.
He just forwarded it to me too.
Yeah, so you're right, but I mean, I'm not. Well, you know, he's a policymaker, right? He doesn't execute policy. It's really the administration. So if the administration is not, if that's not on their radar, it's not something they want to do, it's not going to be done. I mean, we know that. And so maybe now, maybe that will be something. And typically what Jim Moylan promulgates, what Jim Moylan puts out, someone will follow, or someone has already thought about it. And then because someone said it, the other one's going to finish it. Yeah. So hopefully something like that happens, right? Like
so
you said,
you're basically saying if Senator Moylan has an idea in a bill, it's not going to go anywhere, and so then someone else will copy it and then run with it. And,
oh yeah, for sure. I mean, and we know that, and the thing is, you just have to push forward, and whatever happens, I mean, as long as it's for the good of the island and in service of the people, why not? I mean, the approach might be different, but that's the name of the game.
Yeah, but we've had, I mean, you know, the beautification czar, the Lieutenant Governor Joshua Tenorio, has had the whole pandemic when no one was going to these parks to get everything ready. And I mean, it's the biggest thing the Lieutenant Governor does is beautification. Traditionally, that's always been their thing, right? So I just don't get it. Why are we still talking about this? I mean, you have the money,
yeah,
you have the time, And I'm just saying it's a question of priorities. We're reading about all these above-step recruitments, $10,000 raises, and then the ones who get left holding the bag, it's the people of Guam, as always.
So in that vein, I do want to say that you're right, that it's about priorities. I also have to say that there are some benefits that we've received from the beautification task force. I'm not
hating on them. Yeah, of course. I'm just saying, right? It is what it is.
But you're right. It is priorities, correct. You're right in that. Like I said, in that vein, it's just I don't want it to seem like they're not productive. They are productive, but it's all about priorities. And so hopefully now, that there's a shift in priorities because I think they're supposed to be meeting right this week or so.
Yeah,
something
I think
like
tomorrow or something. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and don't turn it into Chris Barnett's hating on the beautification task force, because I'm not. I'm just saying, I mean, obviously, these parks have been unattended. We couldn't even go to the parks. Remember when they locked us down? Remember they didn't want us to exercise? You remember that? I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and these parks were just, they were just sitting there. You know what I mean? Yeah. Could have done so much already instead of it's always reactionary after the fact.
Yeah, well, we're used to that, right? Yeah. So we, like I said, roll with the punches.
That's the problem. We're used to it, and they know it, and so it's what it is. Go out and register to vote, guys. Guam Election Commission. Mayor.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas. Right back at it, guys. Christmas. Mayor, what about money? The 17 million or whatever million that we've been talking about. There was a thing with Congressman San Nicolas saying, "Oh no, the mayor's supposed to get this much." The administration was like, "Nah." So has there been some kind of development in this situation where the Mayor's Council of Guam is now going to receive ARP funding?
Well, it's still the same. The status quo because we hadn't received the money. Status quo because we continue to talk about it. And that's kind of where we're at. I can't, like I said, I don't want to say what is actually being given to us and what's not going to be given to us, because I would rather receive the money and say, "Hey Guam, we got it." "Hey Chris Barnett, look, we got our dollar."
Great. Mayor, I actually have a caller with a question for you about nothing crazy, just calling about the senior centers, which I was going to ask you about. Sure. Good morning. Welcome to the link.
Good morning.
Go ahead.
Good morning, Mayor.
Off a day.
Yeah, Mayor, we heard that the senior citizen will be open on January 10th.
Correct.
Okay, and what's the protocol on that one? How about for those senior citizens that do not want to attend because of the variants?
That's okay. No one is forced to attend the center. If the senior citizen is a current is currently registered with the center, they should have received a phone call from their respective center or from their mayor's office to talk to them about returning. If you're not a registered senior citizen, then you need to register with the senior center operations, which is your senior center. They will talk to the senior citizen about all their options and they can make a decision whether or not they will be returning.
There's another question. If we do not return and show up on the 10th, they will no longer receive our the food for the lunch. Be delivered. Is that true?
It is correct that senior citizen will not be able to receive the meal from the congregate meal program, which is distributed at the senior center. However, the senior citizen is encouraged to speak to case management with senior center operations and the Division of Senior Citizens to apply for a separate program, a separate meal program that allows for home delivery.
And what will be that program?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
What is that program, Mayor? Yeah, people keep calling and asking me about what program is it and is it guaranteed?
It's a different program. I'm not familiar with the program name, but we are encouraging the senior citizens, those who are not going to be returning and those who feel that they need to stay home for their personal reasons, they can speak with their case management, with the case management office at the Division of Senior Citizens. I'm sorry that I don't have the number offhand, but you certainly can call all the mayors, any of your mayor's offices or your senior center to get the information and speak to case management to fill out the application or talk about an application to register under a new meal program.
So you don't know the name of that meal program, Mayor, and you don't know if it's like guaranteed.
I apologize, I do not.
No worries. I mean, public health should be on here explaining all this, but I'm topping it, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Mayor, I have another
the Division
question.
of Senior Citizens. There's enough of them to go around to talk about, to help them and
totally.
transition. And part of the reason why we were sending out the weekly flyers to the Manamco that received meals is because we want them to get a hold of us so that we can talk to them about their options. Because we're certainly not wanting to leave anyone behind. We don't. Our goal is not to. Our goal is to service all our Manamco that need the help, and whether they decide that they want to return to the center or not, if we can help them, we certainly would like to do that. And that's our purpose for sending out those weekly flyers.
Another question, Mayor.
Sure.
The question is, we heard that the case management from each of the center are going to be rotate. Is that true?
The senior centers, the managers, there is a rotation, correct.
And how often does that occur?
You know what? I'm not positive as to how often it occurs. I think what we wanted to do, the reason why the rotation is going to happen is simply to familiarize these center managers with other centers, because they don't work for one particular mayor. They work for all the senior center operations.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Have a good day.
Okay. Yeah. So people were obviously asking about that. I did the story. I want to say last week. So what kind of response are you getting? A lot of calls like this gentleman that just called.
Yeah, we have actually been receiving a lot of phone calls, but we're also getting to the bottom of their situation, and that's what we need to do. You kind of, everyone for over a year was just used to everything that we've been doing, and we had to kind of remind everyone that this was all because of the pandemic. So it's not, it's not standard, and it's not regular protocol, and it's certainly not something that the grantor. It wasn't part of the actual program for the meal for the Senior Citizen Center. It was just a special case because of the pandemic.
They made allowances because of the pandemic.
Yeah, but because we're really trying to get everyone to keep on moving, and there are definitely many Manamco that want to return. We want to be able to accommodate them as well.
So you don't know what that program is, or whether or not. I'm just assuming no Manamco are going to go hungry, right? The question is, are they going to be able to transfer over to that other program before the centers open? And then I'm also wondering, Mayor, are you concerned about the variant and whether or not things are going to start to pick up here in Guam? As we just saw in Hawaii, they've reported a record number of COVID infections. I mean, record meaning even going back to the beginning of the pandemic, something like 2,200 cases.
Yeah, certainly we've talked about that and other issues regarding the opening. And in our discussions about the opening, there's all the divisions of public health that need to be a part of the discussion. So environmental health, the doctors and the professionals at public health are part of our discussion. Of course, we're not equipped like the schools are. And so we have to open in a certain manner, and it's certainly not similar to what the schools are doing. But all of those options and all of those concerns are being taken into consideration for sure. So how do we protocols as to what happens when a Manamco, a senior is not feeling well, what happens when a senior is positive, all those types of issues and all those types of concerns are being addressed with the Division of Senior Citizens and our senior workers.
All right. And so do you think that 2 weeks is enough time to address all those issues and get all your protocols and every procedures all up and standing and ready to go?
I think it is. Again, it wasn't just, we've been talking about it and we've been having these discussions. I don't believe we have a real big issue at this point. I know that at the very beginning, one of the discussions was the were the facilities that were not prepared to open because of because of actual facility issues. But we're shifting shifting seniors to other centers that are not as full, and as and fixing the problems that need to get resolved. So I think we will be prepared. Of course, in the event a center is not prepared, we're not pushing for them to open. But again, we're in close contact with everyone at Public Health that is necessary for us to be in contact with in order to open safely. I don't have any doubt that when we open, I believe we'll be ready, especially those, like I said, those that are prepared to open. We're ready to go. We have Sinahanya and Santa Rita that have actually already been doing bingo. So, those are I think they're the full centers with the bingo. And of course, our big concern is Dedido, but I know Mayor Savares and her team are okay with with the opening. There's a possibility that Jigo might be shifting or merging with Astumbo, but again, that's just a possibility. And but we're trying to get Jigo up and running.
Mayor, tell us a little bit about the eligibility, because I know these are senior centers, but are these seniors who have regular adults in their family that take care of them normally?
Oh yeah, so the senior center is not an indigent program. It's not, the only requirement is that you're a senior citizen. We have the adult daycare, so another program under the Division of Senior Citizens is the adult daycare. And so adult daycare is totally separate from the senior center operations. The senior center operations, for anyone who is a senior citizen, you're eligible to participate in the center. And the center offers different types of recreational activities during the day from 8:30 to 3:30, I believe. Yeah. And you receive a congregate meal. And a congregate meal is a lunch that you eat at the center. Yeah. And, and that program used to do the Rye and the Rhina contest. Yeah. Just so that the Manamko out there who have not participated, you can connect that. So that used to be operated under GARP SPIMA. Right. And so now the Mayor's Council is, has taken over. And of course that's just a MOU with Public Health. So that can change at any time. Right. And Public Health can take it back, or Public Health can find another vendor to take care of the senior center operations. The adult daycare is one that requires, Manamko require additional help throughout the day. They might be bedridden. Right. They might be bedridden. They also may be wheelchair bound. There's also the dementia house, and there's no one to take care of them at home. They can go to those daycare centers, and there's 4 of them around the island. And now that I don't know the requirements, but there are, I know there's some that are serve the indigent population. Right.
Yeah, I've done performances at both the senior centers and the adult daycare, so I'm kind of familiar with what goes on there. But I just want to say that I feel like our Manamko are really wanting this.
I do too. I mean, at the very beginning, it was really a battle between being safe and, just mom and dad worrying about their mom and dad, or, the children worrying about the parents. And it was a struggle, I think. But because we're used to being okay, we're used to being safe, we understand how to practice these protocols. It was about time to talk about an actual opening. And for those Manamko that are willing to come back, we want them to come back. We want them to get out of the house, and we want to do that safely. So yeah, we are looking forward to that January 10th opening.
Right on, Mayor. And then as far as the ARP funds go, no change as of yet, but discussions are underway and ongoing?
That's correct. Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Anything else?
Maybe it'll be a Happy New Year. I thought it was going to be a Merry Christmas, but it was a Merry Christmas. Yeah. It was a Merry Christmas ARP list.
Yeah. You checked your stocking and the Todd's ARP.
Todd's. There was a hole in the top and the bottom.
Plenty holes, Mayor. Maybe what it is they have until Three Kings.
Yeah. You know, this year, Three Kings, if you're following the actual liturgical year, Three Kings is January 2nd. So they don't got too much time.
Oh, Lana, you better hear that, Auntie Lou. Got to January 2nd. Light a
You're
candle.
following the traditional calendar, of course, is January 6th.
Right.
But, you know, the church follows the, we don't want to get into it, but January 2nd is Epiphany.
You had me at liturgical calendar. I know you know what you're talking about.
That's okay. I'm not sure if anybody from the Vatican is watching right now, Mayor. So you're okay. I think over the last couple of days they've been kind of preoccupied.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
They may have had mass or two.
I don't know. Yeah, they got some things going on. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, have a good week.
Merry Christmas, and I pray
Merry Christmas.
that. Hey, I want to kind of get you on before the end of the week. We'll talk about the year in review for you guys and what you're looking at for the upcoming New Year.
Okay, I'll go.
Yeah, okay, that's that.
Adios.
Happy New Year.
Mayor Jesse Alig, always a good time with Mayor Alig. He does a check-in every Monday here on the link at 7:30.
It would not be a Monday if we didn't have that boisterous laughter. Just
Yeah, and I send him the link every Sunday. He's got the Zoom link, but I always make a big thing. Hey, I send